you're watching this video, you're not quite sure how we got that answer. So 90% of what number is 120? And if we're trying to figure this out, using the words, we're going to set it up as 90%, which again, we can't just leave it as 90%. Percents have to be converted to a decimal or a fraction. Since I'm going to use a calculator to help me, I'm going to make it into a decimal. Calculators don't like fractions, but they do like decimals. So 0.9, where I go to the left to make it into a decimal. So either 0.9 or 0.90 of times what number we don't know is equals 120. Now that I have an equation set up, I can solve that equation. I can divide both sides by 0.09. Sorry, not 0.09, 0.90, so 0 and 9 tenths. If I divide by 0.9, 0 and 9 tenths, I get that n equals 133.3 repeating. And it does say round to the nearest tenth, so it would not repeat then after that. It would just be 133.3. That's how we got that answer. The next one, a student answers 32 questions correctly and 8 incorrectly. What percent, okay, what percent, I don't know, of times the questions. The questions. How many questions were there? There were not 32 questions. There were not 8 questions. They answered 32 questions correctly and 8 incorrectly. That gives us a total of 40 questions that were asked. So the questions, 40 questions. How many of those were answered correctly? Now, I did say that there'd be was or were. This is a different form of that word is. So the question could be bad grammarly asked, what percent of the questions is answered correctly? That would sound weird because it's poor grammar, but it's the same idea. So were answered correctly, there were 32 that were answered correctly and 8 incorrectly. Now that I have an equation, I can divide both sides by whatever variable is by x. I do that inverse operation, divide both sides by 40, and 32 divided by 40 gives me that answer of 0.8, which is not a percent. They didn't get 0.8% correct. They got 32 out of 40. They did pretty well. So we have to change that decimal to a percent, and we get 80% is what they got on that test. And that's how we got those answers.